So when he went to Philly, I was a little surprised. Wasn't surprised about the contract, but just surprised that he went to Philly, especially after they just got Jaylen Brown. That's the thing that really kind of surprised me.
And I think his time in LA was definitely up. And, they got one championship in 8 years. So, they keep talking about he's going to get a statue. I don't know for what, but, it is what it is.
Former Lakers head coach Byron Scott was blunt when reacting to LeBron's decision to leave Los Angeles and join Philadelphia. Scott admitted that the 76ers could potentially give LeBron one of his strongest opportunities to chase another championship. But he also emphasized a crucial point: having a roster packed with talent does not automatically lead to winning. And when an experienced basketball mind like Scott starts questioning whether a superstar-heavy team can truly succeed, it instantly makes the situation a lot more intriguing.
Talent on paper don't mean a whole lot. It means you got talent. That's about all it means. It doesn't mean it or guarantee that you're going to win the championship.
Do you think LeBron James made the right call by taking his talents to Philadelphia? Or could this turn into another high-profile super team experiment that ultimately falls short of a championship? Let me know what you think in the comments, because this debate is only getting started, and things could get a lot more interesting from here.
What was your first reaction of LeBron signing in Philadelphia?
Wow. I mean, that was my first reaction. I was surprised. And not because of the contract. I mean, first of all, he got about $1 billion.
Yeah.
So we know he
$85 million off the court.
Yeah. So
annually.
We know that wasn't the thing that was going to be the deciding factor on where he was going. He has enough money, so it's all about trying to win.
Let's be real. Ever since LeBron joined Philadelphia, a lot of basketball fans have been acting like the Sixers are already guaranteed another championship. Analysts everywhere are labeling them as favorites, while social media is flooded with predictions of a deep playoff run and another finals appearance. Some fans have even started claiming that this move could finally put the GOAT debate to rest. But Byron Scott quickly challenged all that hype with a simple reality check. A roster can look unstoppable on paper, but basketball isn't one on paper.
I was still feeling pretty good about that. So when he went to Philly, I was a little surprised. Wasn't surprised about the contract, but just surprised that he went to Philly, especially after they just got Jaylen Brown. That's the thing that really kind of surprised me.
My first reaction was, I told y'all.
Scott said the biggest surprise in LeBron's decision wasn't the contract or the money. In his view, finances were never going to be the deciding factor for a player with LeBron's massive earnings both on and off the court. Scott believes LeBron has already made more than enough financially, so this next chapter is clearly about basketball rather than another payday. What caught Scott off guard was LeBron choosing Philadelphia, especially after the Sixers had already built a roster loaded with star power. On paper, the combination looked extremely dangerous, but Scott wasn't ready to call them champions before they had even stepped onto the court.
And I think his time in LA was definitely up. And, they got one championship in 8 years. So, they keep talking about he's going to get a statue. I don't know for what, but, it is what it is. That's where he's at now. He's in Philadelphia. And, I think that was the best out of all the teams. To be honest with you, I think that was the best.
That statement instantly changed the tone of the conversation because it challenged one of the biggest beliefs surrounding LeBron's move. For weeks, fans and analysts had been assuming that joining Philadelphia automatically put LeBron in position to win another championship. Scott pushed back hard against that idea. In his view, having a roster full of talented players is only the beginning. Talent alone doesn't create chemistry. It doesn't guarantee that everyone will sacrifice for the team. And it doesn't mean every star will be comfortable accepting a smaller role. Most importantly, none of it guarantees a championship.
We do know and remember Kobe being Bryant. He shooted with 3 people on him. Kobe's like, look, I don't care. I feel more comfortable with me shooting it than passing it to one of y'all shooting it with 3 people on me, right? Yeah. That's that alpha mentality that he had. LeBron's not like that. LeBron's going to hit the open guy. So when we talk about the teams that he could have fit with, I don't think there's a team that he wouldn't fit in with. And especially at this point in time in his career where he just wants to win. He's not caring about stats. He got every damn stat there is right now in the NBA.
Yeah.
It's all about winning to him, right?
Scott backed up his argument by pointing to one of the most famous examples in NBA history. He brought up the 2003-04 Lakers, a roster featuring Kobe Bryant, Shaquille O'Neal, Karl Malone, Gary Payton, and Derek Fisher. On paper, that lineup looked almost impossible to beat. Expectations were through the roof, and many believed they would dominate the league and add another championship. But everything changed when they faced the Detroit Pistons. Detroit played as a connected unit, trusted one another, defended at an elite level, and exposed the weaknesses hidden beneath Los Angeles' star power. The outcome stunned the basketball world and reinforced Scott's central argument: having a collection of superstars doesn't automatically produce a championship. And that's exactly why he used the comparison. Philadelphia could have one of the most talented rosters in the league, but history has repeatedly shown that super teams can fall short just as easily as they can succeed. Every contender eventually faces adversity. Losing streaks happen. Frustration can build when certain players aren't getting enough touches, shots, or opportunities. Until those moments actually arrive, there's no way to know how a team will respond under pressure. Scott also made another statement that immediately attracted attention. He suggested that LeBron's chapter with the Lakers had simply reached its natural ending. After 8 seasons and 1 championship, Scott felt the relationship between LeBron and Los Angeles had run its course. He then added another controversial remark by questioning the growing talk about LeBron eventually receiving a statue outside Crypto.com arena. Scott joked that he wasn't even sure what the statue would be celebrating, and that comment quickly sparked another wave of debate. Fans remain divided over LeBron's Lakers legacy. Some believe winning a championship during such a challenging period was enough to secure his place among the franchise's legends. Others argue that one title over 8 seasons doesn't put him alongside Lakers icons who created sustained dynasties. No matter which side you take, Scott's comments only added more fuel to an already heated conversation. The discussion eventually turned toward whether Philadelphia was truly the best basketball destination for LeBron. Other possibilities had reportedly been considered, including Golden State, Miami, and Cleveland. Scott wasn't convinced those alternatives were necessarily better. He questioned whether Golden State's aging core could realistically make another championship run. He also wondered how Miami's frontcourt would function alongside LeBron. And when Cleveland came up, Scott simply didn't believe LeBron was interested in returning for a third stint. Interestingly, Scott also argued that LeBron could succeed in almost any system because one of his biggest strengths has always been making the players around him better. Throughout his career, LeBron has often been criticized for making the extra pass instead of forcing a difficult shot. But Scott viewed that completely differently. To him, it represents one of the most important parts of LeBron's game. While some legendary scorers have preferred taking the final shot themselves, LeBron has consistently trusted the open teammate and made what he believed was the right basketball decision. That opened up another familiar debate. Critics have sometimes viewed LeBron's willingness to pass in big moments as a lack of killer instinct compared with players such as Kobe Bryant or Michael Jordan. Supporters see it the opposite way, arguing that the correct play matters more than personal glory. Scott clearly favored that second viewpoint, suggesting that LeBron's unselfish approach has sometimes received unfair criticism. Even with all of that praise, Scott still stressed that Philadelphia has absolutely no guarantees. Building a championship team requires far more than putting several stars on the same roster. It requires chemistry, communication, accountability, and genuine sacrifice. None of those things appear on a stat sheet. They are built over time through difficult games, setbacks, and teammates learning to trust one another. Until Philadelphia proves it can develop those qualities, every championship prediction is still just a prediction. Another major storyline will be figuring out the offensive hierarchy. This Philadelphia roster doesn't come with perfectly defined roles. Joel Embiid has been the franchise centerpiece for years. Tyrese Maxey has emerged as one of the league's most explosive young guards. Jaylen Brown enters expecting to remain a major offensive weapon. And now LeBron joins the equation as one of the most accomplished players basketball has ever seen. Finding the right balance won't simply mean taking turns with the ball. Championship teams eventually develop a clear identity. Players know when to attack, when to step back, and when to sacrifice. Byron Scott's warning about Philadelphia becomes even more interesting when you look at NBA history. He pointed to the 2003-04 Lakers as the perfect example of why superstar talent doesn't automatically translate into championships. That roster had Kobe Bryant, Shaquille O'Neal, Karl Malone, Gary Payton, and Derek Fisher, and on paper, it looked almost impossible to beat. Many expected them to dominate the league and win another title. Instead, the Detroit Pistons exposed their weaknesses by playing as a united team, trusting one another, defending at an elite level, and executing their game plan. That shocking result proved Scott's biggest point: collecting stars is not enough. Philadelphia may have one of the most talented rosters in the league, but until those players develop chemistry, sacrifice individual roles, and learn how to handle adversity together, nobody can guarantee a championship. Scott also believes LeBron's chapter in Los Angeles had simply reached its natural conclusion after 8 seasons and 1 championship. His comments about whether LeBron deserves a future Lakers statue created another debate, with some fans believing that winning a title during a difficult period secured his place among Lakers legends, while others believe 1 championship isn't enough to put him alongside players who built lasting dynasties. The discussion then shifted toward Philadelphia being the right destination for LeBron. Other teams, including Golden State, Miami, and Cleveland, were reportedly possibilities, but Scott questioned whether those situations would actually have been better. At the same time, he believes LeBron can fit almost anywhere because one of his greatest strengths has always been making his teammates better. His willingness to make the extra pass instead of forcing a difficult shot has sometimes been criticized, but Scott sees that unselfishness as one of LeBron's defining qualities. Still, even Scott admits Philadelphia has plenty of challenges ahead. Building a championship team requires chemistry, communication, accountability, and sacrifice, not just impressive names on a roster. Joel Embiid has been the franchise centerpiece, Tyrese Maxey has become a major offensive weapon, Jaylen Brown expects to remain an important scorer, and now LeBron enters the picture with an enormous legacy and expectations. Figuring out who gets the ball, who takes the final shot, and who is willing to sacrifice won't be simple. During the regular season, talent can cover up weaknesses, but the playoffs are where those weaknesses are